Hey everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for our weekly episode of 7 on Sunday. Today I'm going to be talking about 7 bad albums from bands that I love. Asterisk by the bad because they're not exactly bad albums for everybody, obviously. These aren't just albums that you would look at and say, that is something awful. That is something that belongs in the eternal pit of flames in hell, far, far away, far beneath me. Downright bad, yeah, a few of them absolutely. But I'm not putting these in any particular order today. These are just 7 albums that really let me down. 7 bad albums in my eyes from bands that I have a lot of respect for or else have loved over time. Let me know some of yours in the comment section down below. Some bands that have really let you down with releases, maybe in the past few years, maybe in the past 20 years, who knows. But there are some stinkers out there, some real bad ones, some ones that you just can't help but just kind of turn away from and pretend that maybe they never actually happened. With that being said, let's kick off our countdown. Be sure to leave a like on the video, leave suggestions for future episodes of 7 on Sunday. Here we go.
Mosquito sing, mosquito cry, mosquito live, mosquito die, mosquito land on your neck, mosquito drink, whatever's left, he'll suck your blood.
This is probably one of my more controversial picks on this list, but Mosquito by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs was a big letdown for me in 2013. I was pretty excited after their last record had come out. I really liked some of the singles off of that thing, and I liked the overall dance throwback vibe that they had going on, and I was excited to see what they would do next. And honestly, they took it in more of an artsy direction, and for me, that wasn't exactly a fit with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. What I got with this record was an interesting lead single in the form of Sacrilege, something that definitely grew on me a little bit, but honestly it didn't have a lot of staying power. I've listened to that maybe 5 times since the album came out, and I could say the same thing for the rest of the record. I've came back, checked it out years later, and I'm looking through the track listing, and the majority of the songs I didn't even remember. It's just, its biggest crime is it's very, very forgettable, and that's something that you do not want, especially with a band like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Bands who have some really, really classic albums under their belt at this point, like Show Your Bones, Fever to Tell, huge fan of those releases, and they had a little bit more of like a punk and rock and alternative spirit about them, just a pep in their step, and here it's just like they had the life sucked out of them by the mosquito that they were talking about on this album cover, the album title, the title track from this record. I could really just breeze through this thing and forget it all in about 30 minutes. Why is it that bands seem to want to follow up some of the best material they've ever released with some of the worst that they've ever recorded? Hail to the King was that to Nightmare for Avenged Sevenfold. Nightmare, a fantastic record for the most part. Really enjoyed it. I know Avenged Sevenfold get a lot of hate in the metal scene, and I'm sure that I am looked upon as an absolute noob for enjoying their music, but not getting into a ton of other metal. I think they're very accessible, that's why I enjoy them, but they do have a lot of great lyrical content to them. So that's my defense for them. But for Hail to the King, it had like maybe 3 really good songs on it, but for the most part, they were really just trying to grind out some almost like cover songs and tributes to 70s and 80s metal, and it didn't work out so well for them. What we got was kind of a muddled mess. I do not enjoy this record for the most part. There's just moments here that just drag sections of this record, like all the way from Requiem, This Means War, Do It Time, that whole little section right there, and even at the end with Planets and the really slow acid rain. Planets just being absolutely horrid. I shudder just thinking about moments like that. Doing Time was absolutely ridiculous, just a little bit silly. This Means War was trying to be really anthemic, but it came off like somebody who was totally uninspired giving the Braveheart speech. Fortunately, there were a few salvageable tracks on here, and Avenged Sevenfold got back on track with their next record, The Stage, which was by no means flawless, but definitely more of a step in the correct direction. And on this record, Hail to the King, the title track was great. I love the looping guitar riff on that thing. Nice little solo, that was paying homage in a way that was respectful, but also not just a total retread and something that just got lost in translation. And Shepherd of Fire, totally badass. Saw it live, front and center with the pyrotechnics that went along with this, and just listening to this song as an opener to the record. Holy shit, it blows you away.
Gonna see you later, street lights. I'm headed back to tree lines, to free time and starry nights, to bonfires and fireflies. Pack your bags, it's time to go. 'Cause we got brighter lights back home.
Owl City's mobile orchestra is pandering at its finest. It's like the label was telling Adam Young, hey, we need you to appeal to this crowd, and this crowd. Great. Okay, you got that country song for us, right? Okay, we got the Jake Owen feature lined up. Cool. We got the Hanson feature lined up because we need that 90s nostalgia. Cool. You've got a song that's kind of like EDM leaning. Maybe we could play it on the pop charts. Cool. We got it all covered. Okay, cool. Oh, you got the AC Contemporary Christian track as well. Great. Okay, we're just going to throw that in the mix so that we've got a little bit of everything. This album is just going to go in 1,000 different directions, and hopefully your fans are going to be totally cool with that. They'll be on board. They support you. They love you, Adam.
You can keep the money, 'cause all we need is
I said it once before in a tweet or something like that in passing that I thought Imaginary Enemy could be the Used last album. It just felt like they were running out of gas and they put out something. And this is another one of those kind of bitter albums for me to come back to just because I felt a lot of spite towards it. They went really political with it in a weird way. They mixed in some electronics and stuff. Just cringeworthy tracks like L-O-V-E, yeah, look at the track listing, it's stretched out like that, and some other weird ones like Make Believe, Generation Throwaway, Force Without Violence. It's just that a lot of these just went on, and then the hidden track at the end that went on for like 13, 14 minutes. It was just an unnecessarily long project with far less entertaining content than I could have ever wanted from the Used. And this was them coming off of Vulnerable, a very solid project. If you guys saw my review of that, you know that I was a fan. There were some great tracks. The lead single, I Come Alive, was fantastic. Just revisited that album recently, and it still, for the most part, holds up. And then I listened to Imaginary Enemy, and I just want to shut the world away and say, why did we let this happen? Look, let's be honest here. You've all got that friend that manages to talk a whole lot, but actually never says anything worth actually saying out loud. Even if maybe there's a few cool concepts there, he's got a few ideas. Oh, maybe we could go do this, maybe we could do that. But he never actually says it in a very interesting manner. For me, that's like First Impressions of Earth by The Strokes. It's like there's a lot of great creativity there in the musicality of some of these tracks. Vision of Division, You Only Live Once, Juice Box, one that I come back to time and time again. Maybe it's just because it's so weird and the music video that goes along with it scared me as a kid and now I love that for some reason. But overall, this album was a drag. This is a band that, other than this record, has never put out a record longer than like 38, 39 minutes. Most of them clocking in closer to about 30 to 33. And for some reason, they just decided to drop a 14-song project at 53 minutes long. And it feels very bloated. Julian Casablancas, the lead singer of this band, just wanders aimlessly with his voice. The lyrics, it's almost like karaoke of The Strokes at some points. It doesn't get that much done, even though I really do love some of the guitar moments here. They're great. Albert Hammond Jr. doing his thing, cruising. I think that they really pulled off some great stuff in that regard. It's just that moments like Fear of Sleep, 15 minutes, or even Heart in a Cage could have been a lot cooler if there was more emphasis and effort from Julian Casablancas.
Taking down all my enemies, 'cause they're all so fucking useless. A bunch of shit talking drama queens, and they're all filled with excuses. I wanna find me a better scene where it's not the same opinion. I'd rather go to a funeral than into this high school reunion.
I feel like a lot of you guys probably saw this one coming if you've watched any of my discography reviews for Green Day, or especially my retrospective on Uno Dos Tres. You guys know that I feel like Uno is probably Green Day's worst album. Green Day are my favorite band, but that doesn't mean that I can't criticize them, or else something that I feel like was kind of weak from them, kind of a weird mood. Obviously with Uno Dos Tres, the trilogy of albums that they put out in 2012, there was a lot of material. There were so many ideas floating around, and as a result of that, I feel like Uno was the one that got all of the weak lyrical content and just the recycled song patterns. This one just felt the most standard, basic, just kind of rock, cranking it out over and over again. It felt like more like demos rather than an actual record for the most part. Now there are some great songs on there, obviously. I think moments like Sweet 16, even Oh Love, the lead single that I didn't like that much at first, really grew on me. Not one of their best songs by any means, but still quality work. And then of course the fantastic, fun Let Yourself Go, an anthem right there. But somehow we got off track from those good moments and we just got into routine, just business as usual, cranking it up from some lyrics that seemed to pull from earlier moments in Billy Joe Armstrong's life, and then slapping that with a nice little bass combo and a basic guitar structure that built towards something. And yeah, there were good moments paved in between there. You guys know I love Carpe Diem and Nuclear Family, but other than that, there's really not many songs that I come back to other than the ones that I've already mentioned by name. And there are some real bad ones on there, like Troublemaker, Rusty James is just, I don't know. Something about these songs just don't sit that well with me, especially over time. Dose just has so much more quality material, and even Trey, I would have to say Dose is probably the best out of the trilogy for me at this point, but Trey has so much good stuff on it as well. It's easy to overlook this one because it lives in the shadow of these other Green Day records.
Well, it's cold, 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 cold inside. Colder in the day than the dead of night. Cold, 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 cold inside. Doctor, can you help me? 'Cause something don't feel right. Something don't feel right.
If there's anything that I hate, it's a band that I love going from creative to uninspired and kind of unoriginal, and I feel like that's what Cage the Elephant mostly did by borrowing older and other styles for their album Tell Me I'm Pretty that came out in December of 2015. I was so let down by this. I had it pre-ordered, and as you guys will see, my top 10 Cage the Elephant video is just about to drop. You can check that out at the end of this video. I'll probably put an annotation on screen for that, and you guys know that I'm a big fan of this band, but I was so let down. I actually ended up just giving my CD away, I think, for Tell Me I'm Pretty, just because I didn't want it. I didn't care about this album whatsoever. None of these songs, other than like two, made me care about it whatsoever. I feel like the ones that really stuck with me were Crybaby, and then the song Trouble, which was released as one of the singles. That was a nice little tune, had a nice spirit about it, but for the rest of them, I just feel like they were either trying to be another band like the Black Keys on Mess Around, or they were trying to be 60s and 70s rock on moments like Cold, 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 or Sweetie Little Jean, or even Portuguese Knife Fight, which does have cool elements to it. I'll give it that. It's one of the more badass tracks on here. But overall, I can't say many good things about this album. It just kind of fell flat. Well guys, we've reached the end of my list. Keep in mind these were all just my opinions on the records. They aren't inherently bad albums. It's just how I perceive them. I know a lot of people that feel the same way about some of these records and were very let down by them. But let me know if you have counterpoints to them, or if you really love some of these albums, or if you really hate them even more than I do. And of course, leave maybe your top 5 albums that you were really let down by, or bad albums from good bands, in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video today and subscribe to the channel, because friends don't let friends go and subscribe. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon if you like the videos. Top link in the description down below. Donations are appreciated. All of my social media is linked in the description down below. Last episode of SOS here. Another video I think you'll like right here, and I will see you very soon right here on Beyond AR TV.